Dr. Corsi, welcome to 2020. This is our first episode in the new year. How are you today, Doctor?
I'm great, and Happy New Year.
Happy New
We're off
Year.
to a good start here. I think we've got Trump's on a winning streak, and I'm very pleased to see it happening.
Yeah.
This whole issue with, of course, with Iran has been very controversial. If Barack Obama, however, had been the one who did the assassination on Soleimani, I think the Democrats would have been celebrating. They would have been popping champagne.
Exactly.
But since it was President Trump, they had to all come out and say, "Oh, abuse of power," and this is going to start World War III, and all the dire things the Democrats predicted. Well, what I was saying from the beginning was that, first of all, Soleimani was a very important target to hit because he was so tactically and strategically important to Iran with the Revolutionary Guard. He was the logistics, the brains behind the operation of a lot of their terror attacks, including in Iraq, and also in suppressing the people in the streets in Iran who were protesting in this new green movement. And Soleimani was a very, very dangerous guy. And with him gone, Iran loses a lot of its ability to do terror attacks the way it had implemented them before. I mean, without the tactical support, without the logistics, the ability to organize, and that's what Soleimani was so good at. So he's a big loss to Iran. And at the same time, al-Baghdadi, who was assassinated just a short time ago, is a big loss to ISIS. So you have some major impacts on the kind of decapitating the heads of these terror organizations. And Iran's response has been very, very limited. I mean, even take a look back to the sanctions are causing a squeeze on Iran. Iran had a pipeline from the Obama administration with all this cash and with all the Kerry appeasements and the Obama bowing down to Khamenei, and all of that was very much in Iran's favor. Now with the economic squeeze, the mullahs are hurting, and you see people protesting in the streets all across Iran, and they can't stop it this time. Now, Soleimani was also killed about 1,000 people internally and was partly organizing the internal repression of the Iranian people. Now, first Iran tried to attack shipping in the Gulf, and that didn't work. We didn't go to war over that, and they stopped because, again, the sanctions kept being applied. And then Iran now has decided they were going to try to take over Iraq, to push us out of Iraq, and including terror attacks on our bases. Soleimani gets whacked, and Iran fires some missiles, paid for, by the way, evidently with the money that Obama had sent to Iran. And that did nothing. And Iran came out and said, this is just, a proportionate response, which means Iran does not want to fight a war with the United States at this point because Iran knows it would lose. And the major impact of holding the country together right now from Iran, the mullahs cannot afford to be in a situation where the population of Iran is more squeezed than it already is. So I think this has been a very effective strategy by President Trump. And I've always said going to war in the Middle East is the problem. If President Trump can get the people of Iran to change their own government without us doing the regime change, simply by applying the sanctions. And I would also like to see President Trump get Turkey out of the hate U.S. mode into more of a accommodation with the United States, the same way Saudi Arabia and Egypt and Jordan, who have accepted the existence of Israel, we could form, with Turkey joining, a real coalition against the Shiites in Iran. And I think we're really at a tipping point here, but this was not able to be achieved by any of the previous regimes. Remember, I've been writing about Iran since 2006 when I did Atomic Iran. And by the way, I just recorded the ebook version of that, so that's going to be coming out very soon. The ebook of Atomic Iran will be posted on Amazon very, very soon. I recorded the book was done 2006, which is now 14 years ago.
Wow.
But I was amazed how relevant it still is.
Yeah. And
There it
people
is. You're
can get
showing
that
it on the
book
screen right there.
on Amazon.com. Exactly. Now, Doctor, I forgot to mention, you're looking extremely high resolution today. I've implemented some new technology here that allows us to broadcast in full HD. So people are going to be enjoying us 50% higher resolution for the new year, Doctor. And congratulations, your show is the first to be broadcast at full HD on Crowdsource the Truth.
Well, I have to get to your help also on Patreon, where this will be showing later today in the full version. I started to put on Patreon some patron-only deep dives. I've done 2 recordings with my producer, Craig, on a book really looking at the history of the CIA and drugs. This is a book I've been reviewing. It's Douglas Valentine's book.
Oh, yes.
And it's The Strength of the Wolf. Its subtitle is The Secret History of America's Wars on Drugs, and it makes it clear that the FBI has been politicized from the very beginning with J. Edgar Hoover. Of course, in the early years, it was going after leftist organizations. It was going after communists in the McCarthy era, and ultimately civil rights and Martin Luther King. But it was politicized, and the CIA has been in the drug business going back to the origins of the CIA with the OSS and Southeast Asia. We supported Chiang Kai-shek in World War II. The communist nationalists were, communists were Mao. Chiang Kai-shek was the nationalist Chinese. And Chiang Kai-shek financed his army with drugs, and we helped him with the OSS.
Wow.
The CIA has been in the drug business from the very beginning. And I'm doing... What I'd like to know is how we can organize the homepage for me on Patreon to separate out my deep dives and my subject matters from the podcasts I'm doing every day and from your podcast, so that we have more go here, go there. Right now with Patreon, everything is showing up in the same space, and there's no delineation of here's where these things are, here's where those things are. Right. You may be able to help us with that.
Well, it's a difficult challenge, Doctor, because there are some limitations to Patreon. We're going to have our full show, Dr. Corsi's Prescription for America, beginning there very shortly. That's going to be at 5 p.m., and people can view that. Sponsors of patreon.com/Jerome Corsi and patreon.com/Crowdsource the Truth will be able to see the full broadcast when we begin at 5 p.m. And organizing it in a customized way like that might be beyond what they are able to do at the moment. But of course, we can create links on CorsiNation.com. That is Dr. Corsi's free webpage. People can visit CorsiNation.com, see the doctor's daily updates, his news decodes. You can also access the doctor's various social media links and the sponsorship links, as well as the link to his upcoming book, Coup d'etat, and that's going to be out March 3rd. This is going to be a really amazing year, Doctor. Historic, of course. It's already started off with a bang, literally.
And I think that the other winning that President Trump is doing, we'll emphasize today, is the managing of this impeachment process. I think Nancy Pelosi's lawfare strategy to not deliver the articles of impeachment has completely backfired. Mm-hmm. Lawrence Tribe, who recommended this, he's a very leftist professor of constitutional law at Harvard Law School, and I've known him for a long time. He does not like me, and I'm not fond of him because of politics. At any rate, he was recommending this whole strategy of lawfare is using the law to achieve socialist goals, to basically use the law to change the Constitution and to defeat the Constitution or rewrite it or even get rid of it. And it's a very tricky, devious ways to use the law, like not delivering the articles across from the House to the Senate to begin the Senate trial. Now, I've argued and suggested that there's nothing in the Constitution that says that the articles have to be delivered from the House to the Senate. In other words, I think the Senate could say the House has done its job, it's voted impeachment, and the Senate can take up impeachment in a trial, make its own rules, which now Mitch McConnell has announced he's going to do, and start a trial without any help from the House at all. And in fact, today it was announced that Mitch McConnell has signed on to this resolution that was filed by Josh Hawley, of, I believe, Senator Hawley of Missouri.
Minnesota,
And what this will say, or Minnesota. What it will say is that there's a limited time period. In other words, 21 days after the House voted impeachment, the Senate can just begin, regardless of whether the articles are carried across Statutory Hall from the House to the Senate. It doesn't have to happen.
Yeah.
And
Josh Hawley is an up-and-comer, Doctor. He's a very smart
Yes, he
senator.
is. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
And the issue, you see, the Democrats, I think, wanted to hold these articles open so that maybe by February or March they could come up with something new, maybe a foreign policy issue, maybe something with Turkey or Iran, and substitute that and try to do it again. But with holding the trial in the Senate, which I think will be a very short trial, I think they'll have the introductory statements and a motion to dismiss, and 51 senators will vote to dismiss, and the case will be just thrown out.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to be much of it, but that closes it. So that if the Democrats want new articles of impeachment, they don't have an open bill of articles that they can add to and then walk across. They're going to have to go back to the House and get an impeachment vote. They're going to have new hearings in the House Judiciary Committee, a new vote of articles of impeachment out of the House Judiciary Committee. That's going to take time. Yeah. And this way it's closure on the existing, I think, non-important. I mean, these two articles of impeachment are both not criminal. They're trivial as far as I can see in terms of their impact, and they will be easily dismissed in the Senate. Nancy Pelosi's lost. Even Dianne Feinstein came out yesterday and said she was getting impatient and it was time to deliver these articles and get it over with. I mean, if it was all so important that Trump be impeached and we had to do it quickly, and they get it impeached and then they don't do anything with it, it really makes Nancy Pelosi look stupid. I don't care how smart Larry Tribe thought this was as a lawfare strategy. To the average person, it just looks dumb.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you've been focusing on lawfare, Doctor. I believe it's sort of any real weaponization of litigation that's not strictly illegal, but certainly it borders at least on unethical. And you are correct, Doctor. Josh Hawley is from Missouri, and he is a very smart legal mind. He's been working on modernizing the Communications Decency Act, Section 230, that was developed in the late 90s and remains a pretty restrictive, this is basically what's allowing Facebook and Twitter and all these social media platforms to block people and be totally immune from any kind of lawsuits.
Well, it's going to be a major impact in the second, I believe, Trump term, which is going to happen. I think Trump will be reelected. And reining in these tech giants who are absolutely devastating privacy, and also the debt, which is, I think, now getting completely out of control. I think the economy will stay strong in 2020, will not be an issue for the election. But I'm probably going to write a book on the debt issue before the election to get it on the table, because I think it will be an issue in 2021. And one more thing I want to cover in this Trump winning today in the full broadcast is that the Court of Appeals has said that Trump can use the something like $3.6 billion that he reallocated for the military budget to build the wall. I think it will go to the Supreme Court, but we are now urging that this Terra Block solution be looked at, TERRABLOCK, and HESCO, HESCO. If you look at the videos, you can see how effective it is. It's the type of a perimeter defense system that the military uses in forward deployment. There's the video right there, and you can see how quickly this can be put up, and it's extremely effective. We can have the entire 1,350 miles of the border that have no barrier whatsoever, unsecured. They can be secured with this HESCO terror block by election day at a cost of around $1 billion. And it's being looked at seriously by the administration. We've advanced it through various hurdles, and it's now, I think, going to be increasingly on the agenda. And this is the solution, especially when we have now tensions with Iran and the potential of the wide open border being open also to terrorists who want to come into the United States to retaliate for Soleimani or al-Baghdadi or the other progress that President Trump is making combating terrorism.
Right.
This would be another win for President Trump, who will be able to say another campaign promise was fulfilled with terror block.
Yeah.
It's an extremely effective. It's tested. It works. It has electronics in it. It monitors tunneling under it or attempts to climb over it. It's got an anti-climb surface. It can be as 16 to 20 feet tall. It's an extremely effective, well-designed product. This is a 21st century wall. It's flexible. It can be moved. It can be repaired. It can be monitored. It's modern materials and modern design, technologically sophisticated. The military is using it. There's 30,000 miles of HESCO barriers already in place, protecting our troops in Iraq and Afghanistan.
That would be a major strategic win for President Trump, Dr. Corsi, to have that wall in place during the election. I'd really like to see that happen. And you raise an excellent point. While the socialists and jihadis in Congress are focused on, letting everybody into the country because it's the humane thing to do, they miss the point that you've raised, which is that a porous southern border and lack of security within Mexico itself could easily allow terrorists to come in through the southern border. Kevin Shipp will be joining me later tonight for the intelligence assessment, and I believe he's going to be speaking about sleeper cells, terrorist cells that are financed by Iran with the cash money given to them by Barack Obama. So that'll be an interesting show for people to see. We're just about 12 minutes away from our sponsor-exclusive broadcast on patreon.com/Jerome Corsi, patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, and subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth. I want to remind people, Doctor, that in addition to watching these YouTube previews on the Crowdsource the Truth YouTube channels and social media channels, we've got them simulcast on the Jerome Corsi YouTube channel. That's the doctor's official channel, so people can join and subscribe to Dr. Corsi's channel. You can use Super Chat to support Dr. Corsi on YouTube right there. And of course, people are going to want to visit CorsiNation.com, stay abreast of all the things that Dr. Corsi is discussing. You can also purchase any of the doctor's books from Amazon.com. Coup d'etat will be coming out March 3rd, and the doctor will imminently be recording the audiobook version. We're going to switch over to our sponsor-exclusive broadcast soon, Doctor. Anything you'd like to say in closing?
No, it's just that we also have we've done the full Horowitz report, unabridged, with the original pages, and it's available. I wrote an introduction to it. There it is also on Amazon. I wanted people to have a physical copy you can annotate, and in the decodes I'm doing on CorsiNation.com every day, posted on many channels. See, you can list them all on CorsiNation.com. You'll see all the places, including YouTube, where you can watch them, and CorsiNation.com. I'm going through the Horowitz report in detail. We're decoding it and showing how it really does establish the criminal charges that I believe Horowitz is going to lead into Durham. And Durham and Barr, I think, will bring criminal charges in the next few months against these criminals in the Department of Justice who did this Operation Crossfire Hurricane and got the FISA court applications for electronic surveillance on a presidential candidate on false pretenses, namely the Steele dossier. I think this is very, very serious, and it's going to result in criminal charges, and the evidence is really fully in the Horowitz report.
Dr. Corsi, real quick, there are some smart Alecs in the comments who are asking if you are sponsored by TerraBlock, and before you answer, I'll say, Even if you are, that's totally fine because it's a product that you believe in and it looks to be very effective. It's not like you're pushing some piece of crap. It's an effective solution.
In fact, I've said this openly many times. I've always been in full disclosure. Tara Black came to me. HESCO wanted this known, and they're saying nobody's paying attention to us. It's a military solution. So I have a contract with Provengo, who is the supplier, the GSA supplier of Tara Black to the federal government, to promote this, to get it known. But
Yeah.
as you say, so yes, I have a commercial interest in it. I've been completely open about that.
Yep.
But I would never sponsor or take on a product that I didn't believe in.
Yes.
Just as Swiss America is our product, and we've got a commercial interest in supporting Swiss America.
Yep.
It's America. There's nothing wrong with having and I fully disclosed this from the beginning, and I'm proud to disclose it.
And I support you in that, Doctor. The smart Alex can go write comments to CNN and ask them if they have...
They go be socialists.
Yes.
They can be socialists wherever they want to be.
Exactly, Doctor. Well, I'll see you in just a few moments, Dr. Corsi, over on Patreon and Subscribestar. Another thing you and I have a commercial interest in, we can't bring these broadcasts to viewers without your support. So it's important, if you're watching Crowdsource the Truth, if you're a viewer of CorsiNation.com, please join us on patreon.com/Jerome Corsi, patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, and subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth. We'll be there in just under 10 minutes without the smart Alex. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thank you, Jason.